Hello everyone. For my presentation today, I will be discussing the topic of sexuality in developing countries. When it comes to sexuality, there are various topics one can touch upon. For the sake of today's presentation, specifying on developing countries, I will discuss sexual education, reproductive health, LGBTQ+ rights, gender equality, child marriage, and sexual violence. All of these issues play a significant role in shaping the experiences and well-being of individuals in these developing countries. So what is human sexuality? The Oxford Learner's Dictionary defines sexuality as the feelings and activities connected with a person's sexual desires. Human sexuality is the way people experience and express themselves sexually, as well as one's sexual feelings, thoughts, attractions, and behaviors towards other people. A person's sexuality can very well be shaped by experiences, culture, religion, and social circumstances, as it is both diverse and personal. For the sake of this presentation, I will discuss the way sexuality varies and is affected in different developing countries. First, I will discuss sexual education. Sexual education in developing countries can vary widely. Some countries may have limited or outdated curriculum, while others may not provide comprehensive sexual education at all. Factors such as cultural norms, religious beliefs, and lack of resources can influence the content and availability of sexual education. It's important to promote comprehensive and inclusive sexual education that addresses topics like consent, reproductive health, STI prevention, and LGBTQ+ inclusivity in order to empower individuals and promote healthy relationships. What about reproductive health in these developing countries? Reproductive health in developing countries faces various challenges. Access to quality healthcare services, including maternal care, family planning, and safe abortion, may be limited. Cultural norms, lack of education, and inadequate resources can contribute to high maternal mortality rates and the spread of sexually transmitted infections. Efforts are being made to improve reproductive health by promoting comprehensive sexual education, increasing access to contraception, and strengthening healthcare systems. It's crucial to prioritize reproductive health in order to empower individuals, promote gender equality, and ensure the well-being of communities in these developing countries. Another key idea to think about is LGBTQ+ rights and how they are present in these developing countries, if at all. LGBTQ+ rights in developing countries can vary significantly. While progress has been made in some regions, many LGBTQ+ individuals still face discrimination, stigma, and legal challenges. Same-sex relationships may be criminalized, and LGBTQ+ individuals may experience violence, harassment, and limited access to healthcare and social services. Advocacy efforts are ongoing to promote inclusivity, raise awareness, and fight for equal rights and protections for LGBTQ+ communities in developing countries. It's important to support and amplify these efforts to create a more inclusive and accepting world for everyone, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity. To continue, let's look into gender equality. So what is gender equality like in developing countries? Gender equality in developing countries varies greatly depending on the specific country and cultural context. While progress has been made in some areas, many developing countries still face significant challenges in achieving gender equality. These challenges can include limited access to education and healthcare for women, gender-based violence, child marriage, unequal employment opportunities, and cultural norms that perpetuate gender stereotypes and discrimination. Efforts are being made to promote gender equality through advocacy, policy changes, and empowerment programs, but there is still work to be done to ensure equal rights and opportunities for all individuals, regardless of gender, in developing countries. Next, how does child marriage play a role in these developing countries? Child marriage remains a significant issue in many developing countries. It is a practice where children, typically girls, are married off before the age of 18. It is a complex issue influenced by various factors such as cultural traditions, poverty, lack of education, and gender inequality. Child marriage denies children their rights, exposes them to health risks, and limits their opportunities for education and personal development. While progress has been made in reducing child marriage rates, it still remains a prominent issue in developing countries. Efforts are being made to raise awareness, enact laws, and provide support to prevent child marriage and protect the rights of these children. Lastly, sexual violence, unfortunately, is seen and experienced across the globe, but let's dive into how it plays a role in developing countries. Sexual violence, unfortunately, plays a significant role in developing countries. It can take various forms, including rape, sexual assault, child marriage, and female genital mutilation. Factors such as gender inequality, cultural norms, poverty, and conflict contribute to the prevalence of sexual violence. It has devastating physical, emotional, and social consequences for survivors. Efforts are being made to address this issue through awareness campaigns, legal reforms, and support services for survivors. It is crucial to continue working towards creating safe environments, promoting consent, and combating sexual violence in all its forms.
I'd like to make 5 points about sexuality education. First is sexuality education is often seen as telling young people to put on condoms when they are not really ready to have sex. Sexuality education includes three things. One is it improves knowledge and understanding. Second is it is intended to build equitable norms and values, and to promote self-reflection and among adolescents. And thirdly, it aims to build social skills to refuse unwanted sex or to negotiate safe sex when needed. So it's a whole lot of things, and it really is not just about sex and reproduction. It really aims to prepare young people for a healthy sexual and reproductive life and a pleasurable sexual and reproductive life, and to prevent problems if and when, and to obtain care if and when these problems occur. The second point I'd like to make is there's convincing evidence from around the world that well-designed and well-delivered sexuality education programs result in good and do not cause harm. Well-designed, well-delivered sexuality education programs can improve knowledge and understanding, promote healthy behaviors, and when combined with a healthy dose of gender and discussion of gender and power, it has actually been shown to reduce health problems, unwanted pregnancies, sexually transmitted infections, HIV. The third point I'd like to make is that children and adolescents need sexuality education. They need sexuality education because they often don't know about their bodies, they don't know about puberty, they don't know about how to protect themselves, and to avoid sexual and reproductive health problems. For instance, many adolescents in many parts of the world do not use contraception because they are really scared of its side effects. And if they have problems, they don't know where to go for help. Children and adolescents need sexuality education, and they have a right to sexuality education. And this is enshrined in the Convention on the Rights of the Child. Knowledge, information, and education for survival and for well-being. The fourth point, and the sad point, is that we're failing our children and adolescents. We're failing them at home, we're failing them at school, and we're failing them in our communities. Even today, in many parts of the world, high, middle, and low income countries, it's easier for a girl or a boy to access pornography with a few quick clicks of their mouse, rather than to be able to talk to an adult who cares for them, who's responsible for them, a parent, an elder sibling, an uncle, an aunt, a teacher, a health worker, about their bodies, about sex, about reproduction. And this stems from a deep-seated lack of willingness to accept that adolescents are sexual beings. Springing from that is this either denial of adolescent sexuality, refusing to accept adolescent sexuality, and when there is evidence that it's occurring, to wish it away. And so sexuality education is often seen, if it is seen as useful at all, it is seen as useful in telling young people not to have sex. I'm 60, and the sexuality education I had when I was a student of 13 in growing up in Bombay in India was on the sidelines of the school playground. I heard about it from a peer. And sadly, that's true still in so many parts of the world. The big difference is, when I was growing up, we didn't have the internet, and we didn't have pornography being thrust at you from various sources. That's what we have to deal with today. It's not information which is corrupting young people. It's misinformation which is confusing young people and leaving them really worried about what's happening in their world. To end on a positive note, earlier this year, UNESCO led a group of UN agencies, including WHO, to publish an updated international technical guidance on sexuality education, updated from the 2009 version. This is a powerful document in that it provides evidence of the need for sexuality education, the effectiveness of sexuality education, and provides guidance on how it can be designed and applied even in the most conservative contexts. And it contains a whole section on points to make and arguments to use in addressing the concerns, questions, misinformation that decision makers, families, communities in many places have. And the very last point to make is that a small but growing number of countries are actually biting the bullet, if you like. They recognize that they need to provide sexuality education, and they're getting going with it. In the past, these was Northern European countries. Now you have countries around the world, countries such as Zambia, countries such as Colombia, countries such as Thailand. These are countries who are beginning to recognize that we cannot hide our heads in the sand anymore, and that in this crossroads we really have to acknowledge and that adolescents need sexuality education, and that we have to get going to deliver it to them. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit more about how sexuality plays a role in developing countries.